13. So they're saying 13 is a sacred number that's dealing with the Mashiach. Mashiach. Messiah. Now, what happened is that we know that in the connection to this, we're dealing with 22 divided by the sacred 7. Gives us 3.14. And they know that this is in the connection that there's a power there. But in the relationship of the 3 highest levels of numbers, we know that the 3 highest levels of numbers, according to Rabbi Ginsburg, is 7, 13, and 1. So, they are called channels, and the channels connect to a gate, and they connect to the Mashiach, and connecting to the male and female, and the keeper of those letters. And those 22 letters are in reference to that. So when they're saying this, they're saying that the word wisdom in the Hebrew is inherently connected to the first verse of the so-called Torah, which has a numerical value of 73, which is 10. But 10 is in the variable connected to 7. And like Proverbs 3:19, 7 words have a meaning of 7. And the greatness of 7 with the 7 lands is the 7 people. And therefore, 7 is a sacred condition, and the 7 belongs to Hawa'aya. You know, basically in the yellow here. That's what it does, and that's what it said. Did I write this? No, this was given to me by Rabbi Ginsburg. Sent it to me. Now, here's where we have one connection to what we're doing and where we're connected to. In this time of condition, we're dealing with the DNA. Now, when they deal with this DNA, they begin to change things. And when they change things, they was getting ready to, let's see if we can find that. Nope. Let's see if we can find it. Nope. Let's see if we can find it. That's one thing I like about this one. When you label, there it is. There that puppy. Did anybody remember this? We did this in Lincoln Heights. Now, I showed before that before they had this couple, there was a brother with a big giant afro, looked like he come out of Chicago, with a big round afro, and a sister. Then all of a sudden, now, time has changed. Time with the special reprint or whatever, report, and it says solving the mysteries of the DNA. Now we have taken it out of the brother, and we're going to keep it like he got long hair, and we'll get rid of his afro, get rid of him, we're placing him here. But we got this one here, and she represents, you think it would be like a sister, but she represents Cali, India. So now that you have these things going on, you're dealing with the stone, and you're dealing with the DNA. So you're dealing with time being changed. So with this time being changed now, you're beginning to see a new structure. Because they took it out of the blue. You see what I'm saying? And when they did that, they took it out of the zone. And taking it out of the zone, they began to have a structure that is there that's out of the blue. This is where we are. And this is how we perceive things in the blackness, in the blue, in the indigo. And then on the step of 22. This is how we connect to things and have an ancient. In Batman, the movie, what did you say on that one there, Yemiya, that they're showing that the principal foundation of things were based upon stones? Mm-hmm. Okay. In the movies that we have recently, they're all talking about stones. Even in this movie, the stone was able to, with the Mummy 3, other movies, they're dealing with stones. Even now, and I haven't seen Batman yet. What's it called? Batman the Joker or something like that?
The Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight. And they're talking about a stone, right?
They're talking about precious stones.
Precious stones, okay. Okay, good. So now I have to check that out. But at the same time, I know that stones, precious stones, have something very important to deal with. Why our people don't understand these things is beyond me. The stones themselves, people have died and killed for stone. One of the greatest examples of stones is in the so-called Temple of Omar. What's it called? All right.
Batman.
Okay. Now, outside of that, in the movie the temple of Omar, that's that golden temple that's in Jerusalem, as well as that thing that's a black box in Arabia,
Mecca.
With Mecca, and they have this stone. So stones have a very, very, very important role to play with us. But at the same time, they also connect to your birth and your signature. And these things are what we're going to talk about, because that's very important that you have this connected to your DNA. But at the same time, well, let's see where we are. We got her. We know about that. Now, this is on the back of the book, and I've already talked about this before, but to most people, the word Kabbalah implies the mystical experience par excellence. Now, the thing is, this is on the back of our book. Let's see if there it is. And this book here is the class book, which is the Sefer Yetzirah and Theory and Practice by Aryan Kaplan. Now, let's go back to where we are. That's our book that we study out of. Let's go back to where we are. Now, in this book here, one of the things that they tell you is that the very little light into the ancient mystical and they say magical, but we'll say spiritual aspect. Rab Aryan Kaplan has therefore translated the Sefer Yetzirah, the oldest and most mysterious of all Kabbalistic texts, and now brings it to the theoretical, meditative, and magical implications into the light. He expounds on the dynamics of the spiritual domain, the worlds of the Sephirah, the souls, and the so-called angels. When properly understood, the Sefer Yetzirah becomes the instruction manual for a very special type of meditation meant to strengthen concentration, aid the development of telekinetic and telepathic powers. These powers are meant to initiate, perform feats that outwardly appear to be magical. And the magical Kabbalah is closely related to the meditative Kabbalah and the use of various signs, incantations, and divine names by which initiates you to alter natural events. Now, what happens is if you do the ancient, you begin to see how these things take on that realm. And in that realm, you begin to see what is there. So what you have to do is begin to look on, let's go beyond that one, there. Now, here is where, let me see if I can blow that puppy up. That's a lot blowing up there. Let's see where we are. Right here. The Rabbi Elazar adopted a position somewhat opposed to the esoterical schools, except in the viewpoint of the rabbi being, etc., denying that the Sefer Yetzirah could be used to actually create life in the name of Rab whatever, and that all the people of the world came together. They could not create a gnat or imbue it with the soul. It was not that Rab Elazar doubted such powers existed. It was not that he doubted such powers existed. Rather, he felt that they were no longer known. One of the reasons that they were no longer known is because the gatekeepers will not allow them in there when they're dealing with the morphic text in the Jewish language. You have to go into the ancient. And the author of this book went into that language and not into the Jewish morphic text. Now what happened is he died a very mysterious death. All this is historical information that you can look up on and find. These powers, however, did exist in the Torah. We suggest as a class that if you do get a Torah or Tanakh, we suggest to get the Stone edition. One of the things is because it shows the English on the one side and the morphic text on the other. And has good footnotes, and the guy comes from Ohio. I believe his name is Irvin Stone or something like that. Now, what they're saying, that the rabbi is saying that these powers did exist in the so-called Torah and the Tanakh, in the ancient.